If you're tired of constant churn when it comes to clients for your marketing agency, then listen up. I've got a few strategies that I'm going to share with you today. And by doing so, you'll be able to keep them around not just for months, but you'll actually be able to have them near enough begging you to sign long-term contracts because they will want to stick with you if you listen up and you implement these 3 things. So let's get into it. The first one really quickly, it's more of a basic one, but it's something that a lot of people miss, is communication and reporting. Now, it's not really possible to communicate too much with your clients. And what I mean by that is a lot of people are under-reporting and under-communicating. The problem with this, and when this happens, and I've spoken to clients that have had this situation, they feel like you're not doing anything if you don't report. You're thinking to yourself, because obviously I've had both perspectives, so I know as the agency, you're sitting there and you're thinking to yourself, I don't really have anything to report, client results aren't that great this month, and we're just doing a load of testing, so I don't really have anything to report. But even if you don't have a major update, it's really important to keep them in the loop. It's a really simple just checking in saying, hey, here's what we're working on right now, can go a really long way, and it stops them from thinking that nothing's going on. Because the thing that's worse than not getting results, and I'll talk about results later, but the thing that's worse than not getting results is when you don't get results, but you're not showing them a clear way out of that little dip, okay? So if you're in a place right now where things aren't really going so well, and you're not communicating to them and saying, hey, this is what we're working on, we're implementing these things, we're testing these things, this is what we're optimizing right now. If you're not doing that, they're gonna be thinking in your mind that you're not doing anything, that you're just taking their retainer or whatever they pay you, and you're just going and you've got your legs up on a beach somewhere. Like, this is what's going on in their mind, okay? So you need to get into this habit of reporting more and giving them more information, more communication, more input from your side, just letting them know updates, just easy updates of what's going on, okay? So regular communication builds this confidence that they will have in you, because they will see you as somebody who is communicating with them, being open and honesty, transparency, they come really hand in hand with building relationships like this. Very, very important. And ultimately, the confidence that they've built that's in you will keep them around for the long run, because confident clients that are confident in you, your service, your offer, your ability to provide, they will want to stick around, okay? Now, in terms of communication and reporting, what we typically do is at least 2 written reports a week, a Loom video every other week, and a Zoom meeting every week or every 2 weeks for the first month. And then from month 2 onwards, typically we drop it down to one meeting a month, okay? You typically don't need too much more than that. As long as you're doing a couple written messages, a Loom video at least kind of like once a week or so, then that will be sufficient. But you just got to keep them in the loop. They would prefer to get a 2-minute Loom video from you, literally just saying, hey, these are 2 of the ads that we're testing this week. Literally just record a Loom video, like, hey, just wanted to really quickly update you. We're testing these 2 different ads this week. And that's basically what you need to update them on. Like a really short 1 to 2 minute video on Loom. They're going to prefer that than nothing. Okay, so understand this, that you can't over communicate too much. And then most importantly, don't underrate the communication that you do have. Don't think that you need to have really substantial reports. All that they want is to know that you're doing something, and their money is going towards the growth of their business, because that's all they really care about. So number 1 is really focusing on your communication, your reporting. Number 2, I've written a couple notes here, and number 2, I'm calling it quick wins, because the quicker that you can get a client to win, the sooner they are going to build trust in you. And that trust that's built on early on can carry for months and months to come, like even longer. Because there's a idea in psychology, it's called the primacy effect. And the idea is that people remember things that happen, primacy being primary. So the first thing, they remember the first things. And then there's the recency effect, which means that they remember the most recent things. But typically they don't really remember the bits in the middle, okay? Or at least they don't value them so much in their mind. You got to speak to a psychologist for more information on it. But the primacy effect is very, very important when it comes to removing any potentials of buyer's remorse, or just building this trust and having that established really early on. So what we want to do here is when you sign clients in the future, obviously if you've already got a client, then keep this in mind for your next ones that you sign, but try to get them results as early as possible. And results don't necessarily mean, when I say results, I mean like wins. And wins don't necessarily have to be like massive financial jumps. They don't have to be like you doubled their revenue, or even like, let's just say you get appointments for, I don't know, med spas. It doesn't have to be the fact that you start doing that on day one. Like, you don't have to get your first appointment and book service on day one. That's not necessary. But what is necessary is to help them have some kind of win. So again, when you get started, especially when you're onboarding a client, speed with your reporting, letting them know, keeping them up to date. Like, hey, we've just done this, we just implemented this, now we're doing this. Today we're working on the ads, and tomorrow the ads are going to be live. Like, something like that is going to keep them in the loop. Again, you're constantly reporting. And with the quick wins specifically, again, it doesn't, like, even something less than that. So it could be money, of course. If you make them money, they're going to love that really quickly. If you can't do that, then at least show them that you're implementing something as soon as possible. And even if you can't do that, if they can have some kind of, like, what's it called, in their mind, like a change of perspective. I forget the word of it right now. But if they come to a realization, that's the one. They come to a realization early on with your conversations with you, they will remember that and they will consider that a win. If they see something very different perspective and they suddenly get super inspired and excited, they're going to see that as a win in itself. Giving them clarity, giving them a plan and letting them know once you sign them on, saying, hey, this is the plan that we're going to follow. We're going to implement this step, then this step, then this step, then this step. Like, that in itself is going to be a form of a win, because they probably didn't have a plan before working with you. You've came in, given them a plan. Now they have clarity on how they're going to hit their goals. They're feeling inspired. They're feeling confident in your abilities to help them get to where they want to be. And thereby, they trust you more. And that's one of the wins. Okay, so that win can be a multitude of different things. I want to really quickly talk about communication. Just really one more thing I want to add, because we were speaking about it before, and it's a recurring theme. The way that we do our communication, I told you about the timelines before. We use Airtable for project management. So any projects that we've got are on Airtable, and then we use Slack for our internal communication with our clients and with team members. So we actually link the two up. Our project management system on Airtable, once a task is marked as complete, that gets notified on Slack. Okay, and that's kind of like, that way it's all a central database, so we can see that things are being complete. And then as soon as a notification comes in on Slack to say that something's being complete, we can then go ahead and we can message the client and be like, hey, just to let you know, like, this is being complete now, this is fully done. If we need to send over ads or anything like that so we can get them approved, then we can just do that there and then. We can be like, hey, we finished creating these ads, here's the document, if you can go over, you can approve these for us, then we'll be able to get these up as soon as possible. And then that's it. Like, it's really, really simple to do. So again, Airtable for project management. Once something's marked as complete, we get notified about that internally on Slack. And then from Slack, we communicate with our clients. Then we can go message our clients and be like, hey, this thing is done now. And again, we're just constantly keeping them in the loop. And then when we do our Loom updates and our call updates, then we're looking a little bit more high level. All right. So again, with the quick wins, it doesn't need to be anything extraordinary. It's just something to get them excited, inspired, and let them know that, hey, you know what you're talking about, and ultimately they should be confident in your ability to help them out. Now, the third strategy, I want to talk about client experience. And there's that really cringy word or phrase like the wow factor. I find it really cringy, but there's a lot of truth to it. Like, if you think about, what does it mean when you think about the wow factor? It's like we're surprised, like pleasantly surprised. And a large part about how you can get your clients to be surprised is by over-delivering. This is a concept that used to be really big back in the early days of the agency space. And I feel like now it's just dropped, where people are just not delivering like they should be, and they're over-promising with their marketing. And then when it comes to their service, they're actually under-delivering. I was always taught to do the opposite, to over-deliver. So under-promise, over-deliver. You tell them, hey, we're going to get you 20 clients, and then if everything goes plan, you actually end up getting them 60, right? So it's so much more better. That's the methodology that I've always had. But I believe that there are 3 main reasons that clients stay. And there may be more. I'm obviously just kind of generalizing here, and I'm just shortening it for the sake of of teaching this concept to you. But when it comes to the client experience, I'm looking at three main areas. There's the results themselves, the experience itself, and the alignment. And I'm going to get into these three different topics quickly for you. So firstly, with results. Now, the most important thing is consistent, tangible results. The agencies that I work with all have a result that they can track and they can report on. So I don't like working with agencies that just do like social media management, because what is that to report on? Hey client, this month we posted 30 posts, we got 3,000 impressions and 30 likes, like whatever it is, right? It's not really cool. So for me, the clients that I work with, the agencies that I work with, all have really specific tangible results that they can report on. They will be able to say, this month we spent X amount and we generated X amount, and what this is your profit, right? Because that way it's really, really easy to establish and show to the client that you're actually making the money and that you're your source of income, not just an expense on the balance sheet. Okay, so it's really important. But when it comes to results, we want to make sure they're as consistent, as tangible as possible. A lot of clients, like, you got to actually, just for a second, if we look at the emotional standpoint, what happens is if you're inconsistent, then it's like client starts off here, they're getting X result. You implement, you get them up to here, and now they have the spike of emotion. But then for whatever reason, you drop down and now they're scared, and then you drop up again and they're really excited, and you drop down again and they're scared again. So like, that's not like the best place to be. The best place to be ultimately is obviously just this straight line that goes across here, but we should all know that success doesn't really work in that way. So you need to kind of have as much consistency as possible. But again, when it comes to results, the most important thing with the consistency is that there's a plan, and the plan's being followed, and that you're communicating to them, like, these are the results that we're getting. And as you get the results, you're communicating the results, and you're showing the results that you're getting. But most importantly, that you have a really clear path of improvements or clear action steps that you're going to be following. If you go up and then suddenly one month you drop down in performance, the most important thing is that you're focusing on this whole picture. Because if you focus on this whole picture, then they see the growth, right? But in the day-to-day, it feels like just up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. But linearly, if you can kind of take where I'm going, I know I'm not the best at explaining this right now, but it's still going in a straight line, okay? So you want to have that consistency by showing them that there is a really clear path that's being followed, and there's going to be these up and down moments, but ultimately the trajectory is upwards and things are improving and increasing continuously. The other side of results is having an offer that they kind of depend on you for. And what I mean by this is, I'm a really big, so I do work with agencies, just really quickly. I do work with agencies. I help them build out outbound prospecting and sales systems. That's what we do. It's what we focus on. But it's not done for you. And the reason it's not done for you is because then they become reliant on the agency that like it would be us. If we were to do them for you, they become reliant on us. And me as a business owner, I don't necessarily think that that's the best, especially for a marketing agency. A marketing agency, their whole expertise is supposed to be around marketing and client acquisition. It doesn't make sense for them to offload that to another agency. The reason I'm telling you this is because it's different when it comes to your clients, okay? If you can have your clients reliant on you, then you'll have a long-term retention, because you're like for lack of a better analogy, you're like a department within their business. So they actually have to have you. As opposed to, again, a social media management, I mean, sure, it's important to have that organic going, but they're not really relying on you to make money. For a marketing agency that has outsourced their lead generation, they are reliant on another external agency to get them results and allow them to keep growing, which to me just makes no sense. And that's why we actually help people set up the processes internally in their agency, as opposed to relying on us in order to do it. But the reason, again, that I wanted to bring that up is because you want to kind of, like, in terms of the results, the more reliant your client is on you and the more consistent you are at providing the results, the more they're going to want to stick around, because ultimately it means growth for them. And again, they kind of seeing you as like an external partner and a department of their business, although you're an external third-party department, if that makes sense, okay? Now, the second element, remember we're on this topic of client experience, and the second topic of this subsection is experience itself. And just really quickly, in terms of the experiences, like understand that results alone can keep a client around, but there's three main elements that make up experience. And one of them is just the day-to-day. And when I say like experience within experience, it's like, what is the communication like? Again, I spoke about that a lot, but what's the communication like? Are you difficult to work with? Are you slow to respond to? Or do people send you a message and you get back to them pretty quickly? Do you say that you're going to do something and then do it really quickly? Do you say something's going to be done at 7 p.m. on Friday and then it's done by 7 p.m. on Friday? Or do you wait until Tuesday next week and that's when you actually, finish doing the thing? These are really, really important that you stick to what you're saying, that the communication is on point. If it's off, then it's not going to be as, again, they're not going to trust you as much as they could if you just stick to what you say. Okay, it's super important. In terms of experience as well, personal relationship really comes into it. Little things, I'm not going to tell you to go send your client gifts because it's not something I've ever done, but it's something I definitely believe in. I think we should be probably doing that more, sending them a welcome gift. And when the initial, if you sign people in an initial 3 months, then sending them a gift saying, hey, like happy 3 months anniversary type of thing, pretty much, right? But it's important that you have some form of personal relationship with your clients. It really, really helps. And just kind of keeping it as casual as possible. And this way, your meetings that you have with them, they're not boring. And there's actually a personal connection going on. And also part of this, by the way, is just exceeding expectations. I touched on that already, just making sure that you're over-delivering. Lastly, I want to talk about alignment. And honestly, this is the most important part. And I've left it to last for those of you that have been able to stick through to this point of the video as kind of like a gift, because it really is the most important thing. Now, I've worked with businesses of all sizes. And what I've understood at this point of me just growing my business and helping other people grow theirs is that we all know that the CEO, the person that heads the business, acts as like the leader. In other words, they're also the visionary of the business. They come up with the vision, they come up with the plans to get them there, and they work with their team to make sure that everything happens and that they achieve the vision. If the CEO, your client, if they have a vision and it's misaligned with the work that you're doing, they will feel like you're working against them as opposed to working with them. And what you want to have is you want to flip that around and see them, have them see you as a part of the vehicle towards where they want to get to. Okay, and I mean this. You have to kind of read below the lines of what I'm saying, beneath the lines here, because the most important thing for a CEO is that every part of the business is moving in the direction that they have in mind for their vision. If you are not playing a sufficient role in that vision, they will have no reason to keep you around. They will want to cut you out. And the reason for that is they will see you as a distraction, okay? If you're not showing that you are aligned with their best interest, if you're not showing that their best interest is your best interest and vice versa, if you're not showing them that you truly want their business to succeed, they will not have a reason to keep you on board. So you have to question how aligned is the partnership with the growth of their business, not just from a marketing perspective, but also you speaking with the CEO, truly taking the time to understand what their vision and their goals are, and mutually agreeing on the direction for the business being the client and where it's headed, right? So show some genuine interest in the actual idea of the company, the vision that they've got for the company, and make sure what you're doing in terms of your marketing is actually going to support the vision, right? You speak with the CEO, you set these goals with the CEO, and you say, okay, where do you want to be 6 months from now? And you make sure by almost any means necessary, you make sure that you hit that target, and you show them that you are one of the most important assets, if not the most important asset, to get them to their goals. And as long as you can do that, you'll be able to keep them on for a very, very long time. I mentioned before that you have them near enough begging you to stick around for a long-term contract. And what I mean, and another way to put that, is that they also almost become scared of losing the ability to work with you. If you get them there where they're kind of reliant on you and they have to work with you, then you're going to absolutely smash it. we hear a lot of stories about clients taking things in-house and how they end up dropping the clients because they go in-house. But you can remove that if you're kind of almost in-house already in the form of this partnership. Okay, I hope that makes a lot of sense. And lastly, what I want to do is just in terms of those three main areas that I just spoke about, results, experience, and alignment, if you can understand that there is a multiplying effect when you've got these three, then it's all gonna be so much easier for you long term. And what I mean by that is it's these three parts. You can have any of one of them and do pretty well. Like if you have alignment, but your results aren't great and your communication isn't completely solid, you're still aligned and they'll still believe in you. They're not necessarily going to stick around just because you're aligned, but they're going to trust you a lot more. If you've got the alignment and the experience and the client experience is really good, then they're going to feel good because they're going to feel like it's headed in the right direction and things are happy. And they'll be a little bit more lenient in terms of like, okay, the results aren't there, but we're headed in a clear trajectory where they will improve. But then when you get the results in as well, and you got all of these three ticking together, that's when you got a really, really connected relationship and partnership going on with your clients. And that's when, again, they really want to stick around for the long term. So if you're a marketing agency and you're looking for a more consistent and predictable flow of meetings and clients for your agency, click the first link in the description below. You can hear about how we could potentially work together and help you build out these prospecting and sales systems for your agency. Part of what we do is retention. It's a lot about getting clients, and a part of the retention is also just making sure that you get the right clients on board. So that's something we help you do, actually come up with a perfect client avatar for your business and make sure that all of your prospecting and sales is designed to isolate and find that particular person or group of people and bring them into your agency. So if you want my one-on-one help with that, click the first link in the description below. If not, that's totally fine. Just click the subscribe button instead. I create these videos twice a week for free, so you can watch these, implement them, get results. Let me know that you're getting results. And of course, if you've got any questions, just pop them in the comments below. And aside from that, I'll see you again in the next video.